Some dogs show it very clearly. But there are also some that are extremely subtle. They are not loud, not overly clingy, not always wagging their tails, yet deep down, they are placing a tremendous amount of trust in you. Personally, I think this is one of the most beautiful things about living with dogs. Because a dog's affection is not always the kind that says, "I like you, so I'll show it immediately." Very often, the most precious thing it gives you is not excitement, but relaxation. And a dog that knows how to relax in front of you is a dog that sees you as a safe enough place that it no longer has to stay tense. 1. They sleep very deeply when they are near you. One of the clearest signs that a dog feels safe is that it sleeps very deeply when it is near you. For dogs, sleep is not just rest. Deep sleep is a state of letting go of vigilance. And for an animal, letting go of vigilance is a very big thing. If a dog lies beside you, breathing slowly, with its body completely relaxed, sometimes even twitching its legs a little, its ears no longer perking up at every small sound, that usually means it trusts the environment enough to enter a state of real rest. You can see this especially clearly in dogs that have just come home. At first, many of them sleep very lightly. The slightest noise and they lift their heads.
You're safe here.
But after a while, as trust gradually forms, they begin to sleep better, more deeply, and more comfortably. Personally, I feel that it is not necessarily when a dog is playing with me that it trusts me the most. Very often, the moment it falls asleep right by my feet is the most beautiful proof. Because at that moment, it does not need to impress, beg for food, or try to look adorable. It is simply at peace. 2. They expose their belly without tension. Many people know that when a dog shows its belly, it is a sign of trust. That is true, but not always in the way people think. Sometimes a dog rolls over and shows its belly to play. Sometimes it does it out of submission. But when a dog lies on its side or slightly on its back, with its belly exposed, its body soft, its eyes gentle, and its breathing steady, that is a fairly clear sign that it is feeling safe. The belly is a very vulnerable area. A dog that is on the defensive will rarely expose it naturally. What is interesting is that some dogs do not like having their belly rubbed even though they still expose it in front of you. And there is no contradiction in that at all. Showing the belly can be an expression of comfort. Whether it likes being touched there or not is a matter of personal boundaries. I really like this about dogs. It reminds me that trust does not mean I have the right to do anything. A dog can trust you deeply and still want you to respect its personal space. And in truth, that is how every healthy relationship should work. 3. They turn their back to you. It may sound counterintuitive, but one very noteworthy behavior is this. A dog turns its back to you. In the animal world, turning your back on someone means temporarily no longer monitoring them. In other words, it does not see you as a threat. Many dogs will lie down with their back against your legs, sit with their rear leaning against you, or simply choose a place near you without needing to keep looking at you. This is often a very subtle form of body language, but an extremely valuable one. It is as if the dog is saying, "I know you are here, and I am okay with that. I do not need to keep watch over you." There is a kind of trust that is very loud, like when a dog jumps on you and wags its tail frantically.
Look at you!
But there is also a very quiet kind of trust. It just sits there, turns its back to you, and relaxes. Personally, I absolutely love this quiet kind of trust. Because it is not showy or dramatic, but it is very deep. 4. They sigh and let their body relax. If you have ever heard a dog lie down beside you and let out a long breath, almost like phew, that can be a very sweet sign of relaxation. Of course, not every sigh means the same thing. But in the context of a dog having just found a comfortable place to lie down, lowering its body, softening its shoulders, and half closing or closing its eyes, that sigh often shows that it is entering a state of rest and relief. This is one of the most subtle things about dogs. They do not say, I feel safe now. But their bodies say it very clearly. You will notice that when a dog is tense, its muscles feel completely different. Its jaw may be tighter, its ears more alert, its eyes moving around more.
It's okay, buddy. Nothing to worry about.
Quicker and more
Stay
abrupt.
here with me.
By contrast, when it feels safe, everything seems to melt away. To me, if you want to understand dogs, do not just look at the big behaviors. Look at the way tension disappears from their body. That is where true emotion reveals itself. 5. They can play by themselves or rest without clinging to you constantly. A common mistake is to think that the more attached a dog is to its owner, the more it loves them and the safer it feels. Not necessarily. Some dogs cling to their owners a great deal because they are anxious, afraid of being left behind, or lacking a sense of stability. On the other hand, a dog that feels safe is often capable of being near you without needing to stick to you every second. It may lie in the corner of the room, chew on a toy, rest on its own, occasionally look up to check that you are still there, and then calmly continue what it was doing. That is a very mature kind of security. It is like a child who knows their parents are nearby and can therefore explore freely. I think this is a beautiful sign, because it shows that the dog does not just like you, but trusts in your steady presence. It does not need to monitor you every moment. It trusts that you are still there. In many relationships, including with humans, real safety is not found in clinging tightly.
You are my anchor, you know that?
Even if I am not looking at you all the time, I still know you are not going to disappear. 6. They eat and accept food calmly. Food says a great deal about a dog's psychological state. A dog that does not feel safe may eat too fast, gulp its food down, act wary, or constantly look around while eating. Some dogs even refuse to eat when the environment does not yet feel safe enough. By contrast, when dogs feel safe, they usually eat in a calmer way. They do not need to snatch everything as if they have to compete to survive. They may take food more gently, finish eating, and then lie down to rest without being overly guarded. Of course, eating speed also depends on personality and breed. But what you should observe is the overall sense of urgency or ease throughout the process. I used to think loving a dog meant giving it delicious food.
You don't
Later,
have to worry,
I
my
realized
love.
that an equally
Eat at your
important
own
part is
pace.
creating the feeling
Happy
that it does not
eating.
need to worry in order to have that meal. Not having it taken away, not being forced, not feeling uneasy. Perhaps for dogs, being fed is one thing. But being fed in peace is something entirely different. 7. They show silly,
Look
clumsy,
at you
adorable
goofball.
behaviors.
You're so happy.
This is a sign that I really love. When dogs feel safe, they often begin to reveal the version
Look
of
at you,
themselves
you
that is, a
goofball.
little goofy.
You're so cute.
They may roll around on the rug for no reason at all. They may run a few laps around the house looking absolutely thrilled. They may carry something in their mouth and pace back and forth as if they are busy with a mission nobody else can possibly understand. These seemingly nonsensical behaviors are actually very precious. Because an animal can only be silly, playful, and clumsy when it does not feel the need to stay on guard. That is when its real personality starts to show. Personally, I think that when a dog feels safe enough to be funny in front of you, that is a very deep form of intimacy.
boy, aren't you?
It is no longer merely existing. It is living comfortably. And perhaps that is what every dog owner hopes for.
I'm so
Not just a
proud of
healthy
you, buddy.
dog, but a dog that feels safe enough to be naturally joyful. 8. They communicate with soft, relaxed eyes. A dog's eyes change greatly depending on its emotional state. When it is tense, its eyes may open wider, move quickly, blink less, or show more of the whites. When it feels safe, its gaze is usually softer, slower, and gentler. Sometimes a dog looks at you for a long time, but not to keep watch. It is simply looking at you with a sense of peace. As if it is checking that you are still there, and that everything is okay. This is a very special kind of connection. It is not loud or theatrical, but it is deeply emotional. I think anyone who has lived with dogs for a long time knows this feeling. There are moments when a dog looks at you, and you feel that nothing more is needed between the two of you. No commands. No treats. No calling its name. Just a very quiet kind of presence. To me, that is one of the most beautiful parts of living with animals. They make me understand that sometimes the feeling of being trusted does not come from words, but from the way a living being dares to be calm beside you. 9. They settle easily into daily routines. A dog that feels safe often begins to trust the rhythm of life in its home. It knows when it is time for a walk. It knows which area is its familiar resting spot.
Good boy, come here.
It knows when you are about to leave, and when you are about
Be a
to
good
come
boy,
back.
I'll be back soon.
It knows that
All right,
after
buddy,
small
just
changes
setting this
in the
down.
day, things will
Everything's
still
back to
return
normal.
to stability.
Good dog.
This may sound ordinary, but it is actually very important. Because the feeling of safety does not come only from one person, but also from the predictability of the environment. When a dog feels that the world around it has order and rhythm, it feels much more at ease. Personally, I think many people underestimate the power of stability. They think that to make a dog happy, they have to do something really special. But sometimes, what reassures a dog the most is something very simple. Regular sleep, a familiar resting corner, a familiar voice, a daily routine
Hi,
that is
buddy.
not too chaotic.
Are you ready for a nice walk?
Safety does not always come from grand things. Sometimes it comes
Good
from repetition
boy.
that is
You ready
gentle
for a
enough.
nap?
10. They come to you not only when they need something, but also when they are at peace. This is probably my favorite sign.
Thank you for being my favorite.
A dog that is not yet truly at ease
Hey there,
often
sweet
comes to
girl.
humans when it needs
It's
something,
okay.
food,
What do you
to go
need?
outside,
Good girl,
help,
it's
or
all right.
reassurance.
Just relax.
But when a dog feels truly safe, it will come to you even when it needs nothing at all. It just comes to lie beside you. Just rests its head on your leg. Just sits near you in silence. No begging, no insistence, no obvious purpose. It is there simply because being near you feels comforting. To me, this is a very pure form of love. Because it is no longer just about need. It is a choice. And perhaps that is what makes a dog's affection touch humans so deeply.
You are my.
They are not good at speaking. Not good at explaining. But when they choose to stay beside you in a moment of complete peace,
Thank you for staying.
understand that your presence matters to them.
Whimper.
If your dog does some of these things, it is very
You're trying to
likely
tell me
saying
something,
something
aren't
beautiful
you?
to you.
I know.
When I'm with you, I don't need to be afraid. And honestly, I think
Thank
that
you,
is
my
one of the
sweet
greatest
friend.
gifts a dog
You are
can
the
give a
best
human
boy
being.
in the world.
Because for a creature that is always sensitive to sounds, smells, movement, and every small change in its environment, to truly
okay,
relax
buddy.
in front of you,
I'm right
that
here.
does not come from luck.
Good
It comes
boy.
from time,
That's a good
consistency,
boy.
gentleness, and the
Relax,
feeling
you're
of being
safe here.
respected.
Good.
Personally, I do not think a dog needs a perfect life in order to feel safe. But it does need a person who helps it understand that. Here, it is not threatened, not judged, does not always have to be on guard, and does not have to fight in order to belong. Sometimes, the best thing you can do for a dog is not buy more toys or feed it something expensive. It is to build for it a very simple feeling. That this world, at least in this home, is peaceful enough for it to be itself. If you have ever noticed one of these signs in your dog, then I think you are doing better than you realize. And perhaps what dogs need most from us was never perfection. Only a place safe enough for their little hearts to rest.